Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off with British fighters and talking about radar. We are now on to Funny Mustache Man's deputy lands in Scotland, May 11th, 1941. Also, this is one of the funniest stories, I swear. This guy is a nut job. Number 3, No German bails out. The world was astounded to learn on May 12th that Rudolf Hess, Deputy Führer of Germany, had landed near Glasgow by parachute after flying from Germany in a Messerschmitt 110. No official explanation on his desertion was issued, but the general view was that Hess's flight indicated a serious breach of solidarity in the No-No-German Party, possibly on the question of Russo-German relations. He was treated in Britain as a prisoner of war. Above, Hess in cockpit is seen saying goodbye to his wife before taking off on a flight. Below, the wreckage of his plane in which he escaped. So there we see Hess. There's his wife, middle there. Oop. And then there's the... Ooh, wait. Doesn't want to... There we go. There's the wreckage of his plane, his Messerschmitt 110. Yeah, so Hess, they don't... I guess they may not know now, because this was printed not long after. But the reason that Hess is here is because he was trying... If I remember correctly, he was trying to basically work out a peace between Germany and Britain. That's what he went for. He tried to do it personally, which is just goofy. And it didn't work, obviously. To the world, it looks like he was abandoning them, but he claimed, oh, no, I wasn't doing that. I was trying to bring peace, whatever. It's just all sorts of goofy. What a goofball. Like, a bad guy, but that was dumb. It was dumb. Men of Vichy enter into collaboration with the Axis. May 1941. Franco-German agreement. On May 6th, Admiral Darlan and Herr Abetz, German representative in France, signed an agreement providing for certain concessions in the occupation terms, and on May 15th, it was announced that the French authorities were allowing German planes to use Syran airfields. The picture above shows the men of Vichy at a minstrel council. Marshal Pétain, the premier, is seen on the left of the picture, and seated opposite him is Admiral Darlan, the man who negotiated the agreement with the No-No-Germans. Below, the aged marshal greeted by the crowd during a memorial service for veterans. So there's Pétain. That is supposed to be the Admiral, I believe. And then there's Pétain again. Yeah, so obviously the Vichy government helps Germany. But it's not really surprising. They were independent, like an example today. What would be a good example? They're independent, like... I'm trying to think of a good example, and I can't quite think of one. But, yeah, they weren't really independent. Germany was basically using them like a puppet. So, that's what they were. They were a puppet state. They weren't really in charge. The end of main Italian resistance in Abyssinia. May 19th, 1941. Duke of Aosta surrenders. Accumulating point in the East African operations was marked by the surrender on the 19th of May at Amba Alaghi on an Italian army of 18,000 to 19,000 strong. The Duke of Aosta, Viceroy of Abyssinia, and Commander-in-Chief of the Italian forces in East Africa, with 5 generals and a number of his staff, was the last to surrender. He is seen in the upper photograph accompanied by British officers walking down from the cave for which he had used for some time as his headquarters. Below, his defeated forces are accorded the honors of war by the Transvaal Scottish Regiment. The course of the operations in Abyssinia is indicated on the map to the right. In spite of difficult country, it took the British forces only 94 days to cover 1,500 miles to Amba Alagi. British, Indian, and South African troops shared in the operations, which were crowned by the Duke's surrender, and thus Mussolini's dream of empire for the Italians was shattered. Italian troops had entered Ethiopia in 1934. So there we see, here is the commander-in-chief of the Italian forces being led with British troops, or officers and things of that nature. Here we see the Italian forces being awarded honors, basically. Not awarded honors, but given honors that for fighting and things like that. Okay, and here we see the entire map of the British invasion, basically. So we can see all the British thrusts. All the British thrusts are the black arrows, which I never really show this, and I always forget to. Here's the main roads, and those are kind of hard to see. So if you guys spot them, good on you. But if you don't, I'll just point out the main thrusts. So we have a thrust that goes here, and then goes all the way up into here, joins this thrust, and goes in to Addis Ababa. We have this thrust here, just take to that town. We have multiple thrusts from here in Kenya. Obviously, many of these are from Kenya. One here, which I don't know what country that is, because that's not Kenya, I believe. Here, there's Sudan. Main thrust from there. All the thrusts from there, and then we have the main one from here into here, and then after they take here, Addis Ababa, that's when they all meet up here. And we have invasions from the sea into British Somaliland, so they took the Somaliland back. Yeah. It's crazy to see. But yeah, it's crazy to think that in 94 days, they managed to cover 1,500 miles of, that's fighting time. That's crazy. The Italians just kind of crumbled here. Oh, we get a huge page here. I'm just making sure it's not too much reading, because I know people don't necessarily enjoy that as much. German airborne attack on Crete, May 20th, 1941. Having taken possession of the whole of the Greek mainland, the Germans on May 20th launched a strong airborne attack on Crete, the Greek island lying across the mouth, I think that's supposed to say mouth, of the Aegean Sea. This island was of considerable strategic importance to the enemy, who wished to establish air bases. Establish air bases. Establish air bases there for attacks on British shipping in the Mediterranean, and also for possible attempts to establish advanced bases in Syria and Iraq. The result on Crete, launched early in the morning, began with violent bombing attacks, followed by mass troop landings by parachute in the neighborhood of Malime and Heraklion airfield. I'm sorry if I mispronounced those. Later, gliders towed in trains behind bombers and troop-carrying planes and seaplanes landed thousands of troops. The British and Greek forces on the islands accounted for a high proportion of the invaders, but the enemy threw in their men regardless of cost and gained a firm foothold on Malimi. to the west of the island. The picture shows parachute troopers and equipment descending in the neighborhood of Heraklion? That sounds about right. Heraklion. Airfield. One of the enemy planes is on fire after having been hit by the defending ground forces. So there we see all the enemy parachuters dropping into the air. Obviously, they weren't going to shoot the parachuters. Now, that did happen, but it was considered a war crime, basically. If you were found out to have shot down an air parachute trooper, you would have been jailed, actually. It was considered very bad, and it still is today, obviously. It's very bad. But yeah, there we see the enemy plane on fire. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I can improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel a lot. Thank you.